I was scrolling through eBay the other day and I came across a laptop I couldn't quite pass up. It was in a pretty good shape. Uh, by looking at it in the pictures, it does say that it can't boot, so I would like to look at it, see if we can get it to work. It's a 13th gen i5 with a 3050 RTX card in it. Let's see what's wrong with it. Here it is. Let me give you a top-down version. So here's the laptop, and they say that it does not boot. No further testing has been done on it. So let's open it up. Let's look at it. The keyboard looks pretty good. Looks like it's in good overall shape. Pretty clean. The stickers are all intact, not too bad. Let's look at the vent real quick. The vent looks pretty good. No broken pieces. All the edges are intact. It's not really broken anywhere. I looked at the back. I looked at all the screws. One way you can tell that you might have a good find on your hand is if all the screws are there. If any one of them is missing, then chances are someone's been in there, or another one is when the screws are all rounded off, and these screws look perfect. So let me see what's going on with it. Let's try to turn it on. Okay. All right, not getting anything. All right, let's try to plug it in, see if it charges. Maybe that's the issue. Let's see what's going on. All right, plug it in. Let's look at the light on the side. Oh, and look, there is a white light on the side. All right. I do see something in that USB port though that I don't like too much. Looks a little dirty. Here, let's see. Let's try to turn it on. All right, we got a white light. By the way, this is an HP Victus laptop. Seems pretty well made. I know it's one of the more budget ones, budget gaming laptops out there, but it is full HD. All right, seems like we are getting a screen on here. So I don't know, maybe we lucked out. Here, let's start it off and look it over one more time. Normally I am not this lucky. All right, let's shut it down. Seems like everything's working. You booted into Windows just fine, no issues. All right, let's unplug it. Let's look it over one more time. Let me see here. Yeah, I definitely see something in the USB plug right there. If I can get the camera to focus. There's definitely some kind of gunk in there. Anyways, let's go ahead and open it up. See what's in there, because I think if I look at it real close right here when I open it up, right where the charger cable plugs in, and off camera I kind of cleaned it off a little bit, but there was some kind of syrupy thing right here. In fact, it was kind of oozing out from the screen right here. I don't know what that is. Maybe, I'm guessing maybe it was some kind of Coke. Maybe somebody had their Coke sitting next to it and bumped it and got some Coke in there. I'm not sure. But let's go ahead and open it up and see what we get. It'd be nice if it was an easy fix. I mean, it is working now, but that Coke stain does not make me feel good about it. let's try to get into it from this side here. Always like to use the RJ45 jack if I can to get it going. Of course, without breaking it. These are always such a pain. Let's see here. Okay, let's lay it down. I have gotten it started. It's just the going further with it. Maybe if I also kind of try out on this a little bit. Nope. Oh, hurt something. These plastic clips are the absolute worst. I wish they would use more screws versus these stinking clips. It's definitely taking a little bit longer than I thought it would. Alright, assuming I don't break any of the clips. Should be really nice. So overall, this laptop actually does look pretty good. I still can't believe it turned on like that. Alright, here we go. Yeah, see, you can see some kind of shiny liquid right here. You can see that liquid. I'll actually dab it with this a little bit. And it's really thick and syrupy. I really wonder what that is. Actually, I'm pretty sure I know what that is. Yeah, it smells kind of sweet, almost like some kind of soda. Alright, let's see. Hopefully it didn't go too far into this board here. Let's look at it. Okay. I don't see. I do see a little bit more on the case here. It's right there. You could see a lot of it right there. See the shiny? Great. Alright, let me get some alcohol here. Alright, see if I can get that out of there. Oh yeah, it's coming off. Maybe that's what kept it from booting, and then maybe when it somewhat dried, it allowed the computer to boot up again, the laptop. Let me look at it one more time here. A little bit more careful eyes here. Alright, I do want to clean out that USB plug because I am absolutely convinced that that there is some syrupy, some kind of Coke or something in there, Dr. Pepper or whatever. Alright, so let's go ahead and disconnect the battery here. Okay, this is going to be it right here. See if we can slide this out carefully. It'd be really nice if I had a tool. So it needs to be pushed back a little further. Alright, there we go. See, there's the plus and minus. So this is definitely the battery attachment right here. So the board should no longer be under any kind of power. The fans are a little bit dirty, but they're not as bad as I thought they would be. Alright, well, let's go ahead and get after this USB port. And for that, I just like to use Q-tips. I like to actually take the little Q-tip part of it off, and it should fit in there pretty well. throw some on there. And then we'll clean what we can. Oh yeah, look at that. It's definitely in this port. Yeah. That's a shame. Alright, it actually turns out I can't reach in there with this. So now what I want to do is when I put some spray alcohol in there, I want it to come out instead of in. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in an orientation where it could flow out of there readily. Alright, so let me go ahead and get some of this alcohol onto the toothbrush. Always use old toothbrushes. They seem to work the best for these kinds of things. Alright. Yeah. It's definitely a little bit coming out of there, but not as much as I would think. I'm also going to get into the power plug because I have a feeling that that was also, if it went into the USB port, it probably went in there too. Let's go ahead and get that cleaned out as well, even though it's charging and all of that good stuff. I wonder what was going on with it, because when I first pushed that power plug, or the power button, it did not want to turn on. And then when I plugged it in, I got a white light. Normally you would get an orange light. So was it charging at some point? Because I did do that off camera. I did plug it in off camera. And I did not get a light. Alright, I do see some shiny right there. Put some more alcohol on here. Isopropyl. I'm going to go about it this way. I'm going to put this over it. Soak up the excess and possibly the Coke. Alright. Yeah, there's still a little shiny, like it's just shining in there. Let's see if we could remove, I wonder if we could remove this board right here, just so that we could look in there. So we'd have to undo this little clip right here. Let's do that. I think you just pull up on this, go gentle, and then you pull back. There we go. Now we want to take out this screw. Do not lose any screws. Put it over there. And here's one other one. We're gonna have to, it looks like we're gonna have to take this cable out of its spot right here. Okay. Alright, there we go. Pull up on it, very gentle. Very, very gentle. Okay, there we go. That exposes that screw right under there. Alright, let's go ahead and undo this screw. There we go. Let's see if this module comes out. Or is this just a retaining clip? Yeah, it is. Okay. So let's see. What else do we have here? Does this come out now? Does this board come out? Looks like it wants to come out. Okay, there we go. This board is definitely out. Yeah, see. You can definitely tell there's a little Coke on there. See that brown? It's definitely Coke on that. Let's get some more alcohol. Let's spray it here off camera. Alright, I'm going to agitate it a little bit. Actually, that's not really off camera, is it? Alright, and again, be very careful with the connectors. If you ever do anything like this, be very careful with the connector that is on there, the little ribbon connector. These USBs can take a pounding, but those cannot. And you mess one of those up, and yeah, you're not gonna like yourself. Alright, so that looks good. I don't necessarily see anything in the audio jack, but for good measure, I'm gonna see if I can get anything out of that too. So we're gonna go ahead and run this in here. Yeah, maybe I do see a little something in there. Maybe this would be really good for the yeah, see, there's definitely some in there. Oh man, okay. I'm glad I tried. Alright, let's get a little more isopropyl alcohol on the tip of that. And I like to stick this in and clean back out. I don't want to spin it in there. Just in and then gently in and out. Alright. Alright, good. Alright, this board looks nice and clean now. I don't see any coke on it. Hopefully it did not go too deep. Now what I am concerned about is this power jack, because it seems to me like it was a kind of an intermittent thing. It actually surprised me that it turned white when I plugged it in. I did leave it on a charger overnight. Maybe at some point it charged it. Alright, let's see here. How does this come out? That's what I want to know. Let's try and unplug it from here. Maybe it'll be a little bit easier. Oh, I see. So there is a little bit of a there's like a little metal piece behind this jack. So maybe if we pry up from this side rather. Let's see here. Okay. Yeah, there's definitely some crud on there. Let's see, I don't really see too much anymore in there. I do see a little bit in that crevice though. Sorry, you're gonna have to take my word for it. Okay. So here we go. Let's soak up the extra. Let's see if anything came off of it. I don't really see anything. There's another Q-tip. Can run that in there. Let's see if we pick up anything. Nope, that looks pretty clean. Alright, I do see a little bit here though. I'm just going to go ahead and spray this power jack here. And run it down. Okay, oh yeah, this thing is so sticky. Oh man. I bet you that's what it was. It was intermittent connection. Like I said, when I plugged it in, I didn't see a light. That is not to say that it wasn't at some point charging. Alright, looks good. I bet you that's what it was. Somebody just got coke into this jack, perhaps. Yeah, and actually, I see some of this coke over that light too. A little LED light. Yeah, let's see if we can scrub it a little bit with a Q-tip. Very little came off of it. Almost nothing. All right. Let's see if we can assemble this back together. Because it's a 2023, I am not going to replace the thermal paste. This is probably the CPU and this is probably the GPU. Alright. Alright, let's go ahead and put this back together. Everything is nice and dry now. Oh, I see how it is. There's a little retaining lip right there, so you have to put it kind of in an angle this way. There we go, went right in that time. Alright, and you always want to make sure you get the cable back the way you got it out. Okay, let's plug this fan back in there. And let's put this USB and 3.5 millimeter port jack in here. Let's see. I thought I felt something stick in there for a second, but it's not. Okay, the connector looks really clean as well. Let's see here. You know what? We should have probably put this back in first. Well, not really. Well, at least before we put the cable. We ran the cable back in there. Let's see, I'm going to put that flap down a little bit. Let's do that. Okay, so we're going to move the cable out of the way and then put this down. See how much easier that was? Don't be lazy, guys. Don't be lazy. If you have to go 2 steps back to get 1 forward, but without breaking anything, then do it. Could mean the difference between a working and a non-working laptop. Alright, so let's go ahead and route this back in. By the way, I paid $179 for this. I don't know if I said that already, but that's pretty cheap considering there's a dedicated graphics card in here. It's only a 3050, but they're still pretty capable little cards. Not too bad, especially when you consider how expensive all the electronics have gotten lately. Video cards, especially. All the good stuff is going over to those data centers. Okay, and I think there's a little double-sided tape right there. Alright, went ahead, push that down. Let's give it a once over before we connect the battery back. And hopefully it's going to charge again. Alright, everything looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and take this weird plug. Also had to buy a charger for it. So the laptop was $179, and then I spent about $26 on a charger. Actually bought an Omen charger for it because it was much cheaper than if you were to look at a Victus. See, the main thing on these chargers is this blue round plug right here. See, they have one that's 7 millimeter, and then they have this 4.5 millimeter. Make sure you get the right one when you're working on HPs. Okay, one other thing that we forgot actually is this retaining clip. So once again, I'm gonna take these back out. Gotta unplug this. Sometimes this is how it goes. You get a little distracted and you miss stuff. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and put this back in here. I do believe it was this way, right there. Okay, great. So it only needed one of the screws removed. Alright, here, I'll put this one over here. Alright, there we go. And we gotta put this one back in. Okay. Alright, let's go ahead and plug this back. Alright, for the third time. Great. Okay. Alright, overall, it's pretty darn clean. I don't think anyone's been in this thing before. Sometimes you luck out, but I'm telling you, this is not the norm. I hope that power plug is going to work. I did not like the intermittent nature of it. Uh-oh. I don't see anything on the screen now. Oh, there it goes. The CMOS checksum is invalid. Enter to restart the computer. Okay, let's try that. Why is that light orange now? Makes me worried a little bit. And are you going to restart? There it goes. We got a logo. Okay. Alright, and I think it's going to boot into Windows now. Here, let me see. Alright, yeah, it's in. Alright, I guess the only thing I need to do is test that USB port, and that's it. And let me see the battery here. Yeah, it says it's charging. Yeah, it says it's charging the battery. It says it's 95%. So it must have taken some charge at some point. Very interesting. Alright, I'm gonna test it. I'm gonna run the battery down and plug it back in and unplug it, plug it back in, make sure everything's charging and everything's good to go. Alright guys, so $179 plus another 26 or 27 for the charger, and we have a working laptop.